Ladies and gentlemen, complaining does not solve problems. Every minute you spend complaining is a minute wasted. Life is not fair, and that's good. If it were fair, we would never grow. When you face difficulties, don't blame others, don't blame the world. Just work harder, find solutions, move faster, wake up earlier, dream bigger. Remember, success is not given, it's earned. Stand up, take action, keep moving. Challenges are opportunities in disguise. When life presents us with obstacles, the first instinct of many is to complain, to seek blame, or to look for a way out. But the truth is that challenges are the essential ingredients for growth. They are the tests that reveal our potential, the tools that sharpen our abilities, and the stepping stones that lead us to success. Without challenges, there would be no opportunity for improvement, no reason to push ourselves, no drive to evolve. It's in facing adversity that we truly discover who we are and what we are capable of achieving. Take a moment and think about all the times you've faced difficulties, setbacks, or even failures. Did you see them as moments that would hold you back, or did you look at them as a chance to rise higher? Many of the greatest successes in history have been built on the foundation of adversity. They weren't the product of smooth, easy paths. In fact, it's often the toughest times that bring out the best in people, forcing them to dig deep, think creatively, and persist longer than they ever thought possible. When we experience difficulty, it is tempting to assume that the world is against us, that we are being unfairly tested. But what if the difficulty is actually an opportunity for us to prove our resilience, to refine our skills, and to strengthen our character? Every challenge we face forces us to become better versions of ourselves. It's easy to stay comfortable when things are going smoothly, but true growth only happens when we are pushed out of our comfort zone. The key to embracing challenges as opportunities lies in perspective. A challenge is not a roadblock, it's a chance to explore new solutions, to innovate, and to make a bigger impact. When you encounter a problem, don't look at it as an insurmountable obstacle. Instead, look at it as a puzzle to solve, a chance to learn something new, and a way to improve your approach. The mindset of seeing challenges as opportunities is what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. It's about seeing the bigger picture, about understanding that without challenges, there would be no reason to push forward, no reason to innovate, and no reason to become better. Consider the times in your own life when you've had to face significant challenges. Did you come out stronger? Of course you did. Every challenge you've faced has prepared you for the next one. Every failure has taught you a lesson. Every difficult moment has been a chance for you to evolve and grow. This is why we should never fear challenges. We should welcome them with open arms. Because in the end, they are what shape us into the people we are meant to be. Challenges provide us with an opportunity to learn from others. In every struggle, there is someone who has faced something similar, and their experiences can offer valuable insights. By connecting with others, we can gather wisdom, share ideas, and find solutions more quickly. It's the community of people who have faced adversity that helps lift each other up, making it possible to overcome even the toughest challenges. Every business, every successful endeavor has faced challenges. It's part of the process. But the companies and individuals that thrive are the ones that understand the value of overcoming these obstacles. They don't waste time complaining or looking for shortcuts. They understand that it's the challenges that will make them stronger and more capable in the long run. They view every challenge as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow. They use their setbacks as stepping stones toward greater success. In fact, the most successful people are often those who have failed the most. They have faced rejection, disappointment, and hardship, but they didn't let those challenges stop them. Instead, they used each failure as a lesson, a building block for their next attempt. They were not afraid to fail because they understood that failure was not a final verdict, but a temporary setback that led to greater things. One of the greatest entrepreneurs of our time faced countless obstacles. For years, people doubted him. They told him his ideas were impractical, his vision too bold. But he kept moving forward. He didn't let the challenges he faced define him. Instead, he used them to fuel his determination and drive. Every setback was an opportunity to learn, adjust, and refine his approach. And ultimately, that mindset turned his dreams into reality. Challenges force us to be creative. When we face obstacles, we are pushed to think outside the box, to find new solutions, and to approach problems from a different angle. Without challenges, we might never push our boundaries. Without difficulty, we would have no reason to question our assumptions or try new methods. Challenges spark innovation. They force us to evolve and adapt, which is the essence of progress. When you encounter a challenge, remember this, the solution is already inside you. The opportunity to grow, to learn, to succeed, it is all waiting for you, but only if you embrace the challenge. Don't shy away from difficulty. Don't retreat into comfort. Embrace the struggle, because it is in the struggle that you will find your true strength. It is in overcoming the hardest challenges that you will discover your deepest potential. Think of the countless entrepreneurs, innovators, and leaders who have faced immense challenges. What sets them apart is not that they avoided failure, but that they faced it head on and used it to their advantage. They didn't let challenges stop them. Instead, they saw each challenge as an opportunity to refine their strategies, sharpen their skills, and grow as individuals. And that's why they succeeded. In life, you will always encounter obstacles. It is inevitable. But how you respond to them will determine your future. Will you complain and give up, or will you embrace the challenge, learn from it, and become stronger? Remember, every challenge you face is an opportunity waiting to be seized. Don't waste it. The bigger the challenge, the greater the reward. So, take on each challenge with the mindset of growth, knowing that it is leading you to something greater. Failure is a step closer to success. Failure is often seen as a negative experience, something to avoid at all costs, something to fear. People dread the thought of failing because it brings with it the possibility of embarrassment, rejection, and the sense that they are not good enough. Yet, failure is not something to be avoided or feared. In fact, it is an essential part of the path to success. Without failure, there is no growth, no learning, no way to improve. Success is not the absence of failure. It is the ability to use failure as a tool for progress. Failure, when approached with the right mindset, becomes a step closer to the achievement we desire. From business to sports to personal development, failure is a constant companion. It is the experience that shapes and molds us into better versions of ourselves. If we refuse to fail, we also refuse to grow. Success does not come without failure. It is built upon a foundation of setbacks, mistakes, and challenges. Every great success story is filled with instances where things went wrong, where people stumbled, and where they learned from their missteps. When you fail, it's easy to feel defeated, to think that you are not capable, that you are not cut out for success. But the truth is, failure is not a reflection of your worth. It is simply a signal that you are pushing yourself, that you are taking risks, and that you are testing your limits. Failure means that you are trying. It means you are not afraid to step outside of your comfort zone and take chances. And that is the first step toward real achievement. Many of the most successful people in the world have failed countless times. What sets them apart is not that they avoided failure, but that they learned how to use failure to their advantage. Each failure was an opportunity to improve, to learn something new, and to refine their approach. They didn't give up after failing. They kept going, knowing that every mistake was one step closer to success. They understood that failure was not the end of the road, but merely a detour, a necessary part of the journey toward their ultimate goal. Failure forces us to reflect. When we fail, we are forced to ask ourselves what went wrong, what we could have done differently, and how we can improve. This self-reflection is critical for growth. It helps us identify our weaknesses and areas for improvement. Without failure, we would never have the opportunity to look critically at our actions and behaviors. Failure gives us the feedback we need to become better, to refine our strategies, and to learn from our mistakes. But failure is not just about reflection, it is also about resilience. The most important thing about failure is not the fall, but how you get back up. Every time you fail, you have a choice to quit or to try again. The ability to rise after a setback is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who give up. Success is not about never failing. It's about continuing to move forward regardless of how many times you fall. It's about persistence, about having the strength to push through even when things seem impossible. The fear of failure often holds people back from taking action, from pursuing their dreams, and from trying new things. They worry about the consequences, the judgment, or the disappointment they may face if they don't succeed. But this fear is misplaced. Failure is not the worst outcome. Never trying at all is. If you never take the risk of failure, you will never know what you are truly capable of achieving. You will remain stuck in the safety of your comfort zone, never pushing your limits, never testing your potential. It is only by facing the possibility of failure that we can experience the joy of success. Failure is often the best teacher. It teaches us valuable lessons that success simply cannot provide. When we succeed, it's easy to assume that we have it all figured out. We become complacent, thinking that we know the right way forward. But failure humbles us. It reminds us that we don't have all the answers and that there is always more to learn. Failure keeps us grounded, reminding us that success is a continuous journey, one that requires constant effort, adaptation, and learning. Consider the example of Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before successfully inventing the light bulb. Each failure was a step closer to his goal. When asked about his many unsuccessful attempts, Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His attitude towards failure was not one of defeat, but one of learning and progress. Every failure taught him something new, and with each lesson, he was one step closer to his ultimate goal. Edison understood that failure was not a setback, but a necessary part of the process. It was through failure that he discovered the right approach. The same principle applies to entrepreneurs and innovators. The most successful business leaders are those who have faced repeated failure. They don't shy away from risks because they know that failure is simply a stepping stone. They learn from their mistakes, adapt their strategies, and keep moving forward. Every failure is an opportunity to fine-tune their approach, to improve their product or service, and to better understand their customers' needs. The road to success is never straight, and failure is an inevitable part of the journey. It is important to understand that failure is not final. It is not a permanent condition. The only time failure becomes a true setback is when you allow it to be. If you let failure define you, if you allow it to convince you that you are incapable, then it will hold you back. But if you view failure as a temporary obstacle, something that can be overcome, then it will become a stepping stone to greater success. Success is not about avoiding failure. It's about overcoming it, learning from it, and moving forward with greater determination. The most successful people in the world are not those who have never failed, but those who have failed the most and refuse to give up. They understand that failure is not something to fear, but something to embrace. It is through failure that we develop the strength, resilience, and wisdom to succeed. Failure is not the end of the road. It is merely a step on the journey to success. And the sooner we accept this, the sooner we can embrace failure as a necessary and valuable part of our pursuit of greatness. Consistency beats talent. Talent is often seen as the key to success. People look for it in others, admire it when they see it, and sometimes feel discouraged when they think they don't possess it themselves. Talent is indeed an incredible gift, and it can open doors and create opportunities. However, what people often fail to realize is that talent alone is not enough to ensure success. In fact, in the long run, consistency will always outpace talent. It is the ability to keep showing up, to keep working day after day, that truly determines who succeeds and who doesn't. Talent may provide an initial advantage, but it's consistency that ensures long-term progress. Think about the most successful athletes, business people, or creatives. Yes, many of them started with natural gifts or abilities, but what sets them apart is not just the talent they were born with, but the dedication, discipline, and commitment they have to their craft. They didn't rely on talent alone. They put in the work day in and day out without fail. Talent, no matter how great, fades without consistent effort. Consistency is the secret ingredient that turns potential into reality. When you rely on talent alone, you are at the mercy of your natural abilities, and that can be a very limited resource. No matter how gifted you are, you cannot sustain success without hard work. Talent can give you a head start, but it's consistency that carries you through the entire race. Talent may allow you to shine in the beginning, but only consistent effort can keep you shining as time goes on. The key to mastering any skill, achieving any goal, or building anything of lasting value is to keep putting in the effort, even when you don't feel like it, even when things get tough, and even when you don't see immediate results. Consider the story of the tortoise and the hare. The hare, full of talent and speed, starts off fast, but eventually slows down and falls behind. The tortoise, on the other hand, might not have the natural talent, but through slow, steady, and consistent effort wins the race. This simple story encapsulates a profound truth. It's not about who starts off strong, it's about who can keep going. It's about the perseverance to continue, no matter how slow you move, to keep progressing at your own pace, one step at a time. Consistency, no matter how small the steps, will eventually lead you to success, while talent alone will only take you so far. There are countless examples of people who have achieved extraordinary things not because of innate talent, but because of their unwavering consistency. Think about artists who create masterpieces, not because of some magical burst of creativity, but because they work every single day honing their skills, improving their techniques, and refining their craft. It's the same with athletes. While some may have more natural abilities, the ones who go on to become champions are the ones who are relentless in their training, who consistently show up for practice, and who don't let setbacks or disappointments stop them from getting back in the game. In the world of business, consistency is just as important. While it's easy to get swept up in the idea of a quick win or a fast track to success, real, sustainable success comes from the consistency of effort, strategic planning, and continuous improvement. A talented entrepreneur might get lucky with a great idea or an initial breakthrough, but if they stop working, stop adapting, or stop improving, their success will be short-lived. On the other hand, a less talented entrepreneur who is persistent, who continues to learn, who keeps improving, will build something that lasts. The difference is not in talent, but in the ability to show up consistently and keep pushing forward. One of the greatest misconceptions about talent is that it is something you either have or you don't. In reality, talent is a starting point, not an end point. It's not enough to rely on what you were born with. You need to put in the work to make that talent meaningful. Without consistent effort, talent becomes irrelevant. A person who practices, refines their skills, and works hard will always surpass someone who relies solely on their natural abilities. The gap between talent and hard work is often much smaller than people think. If you can work consistently, even if you're not naturally gifted, you can achieve great things. Consistency requires discipline, and discipline is something that can be cultivated over time. It's about creating habits that push you toward your goals day after day. It's about getting up early, staying focused, and dedicating time to what matters most. Talent may give you a burst of inspiration, but it is discipline that keeps you going when the initial excitement wears off. It's easy to be motivated at the beginning of a project, but what separates those who succeed from those who fail is the ability to maintain that motivation and drive long after the excitement fades. Consistency is the muscle that helps you keep going when things get difficult. Consistency builds momentum. The more consistent you are, the easier it becomes to keep moving forward. Just like a snowball rolling down a hill, consistency starts off slow, but over time, it builds momentum and gains power. Small, consistent efforts compound over time, leading to exponential growth. When you consistently work towards something, you don't just make progress, you also build a foundation of habits that make it easier to continue. The key to success is not about waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect set of circumstances. It's about taking small, consistent steps every single day. Consistency also helps you navigate failure. We all face setbacks, obstacles, and disappointments along the way. When your talented failure can feel like a personal attack, a sign that you aren't good enough. But when you are consistent, you understand that failure is just part of the process. It's not about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about getting up and continuing to move forward, no matter how many times you fall. Consistency gives you the strength to keep going, even when things don't go according to plan. It turns failure into feedback, making it easier to learn from your mistakes and keep improving. Talent may give you an initial advantage, but it is consistency that sustains you over the long term. Whether in business, sports, art, or personal growth, it is the ability to keep showing up, to keep putting in the work, and to keep learning that leads to success. Talent is fleeting. Consistency is what makes greatness. The path to success is not about one big moment, one burst of genius. It's about the small, consistent steps you take every day. That is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who fall short. Consistency, not talent, is the true key to success. Adapt quickly or fall behind. In today's fast-paced world, the ability to adapt is more important than ever. The landscape of business, technology, and society is constantly shifting, and the pace of change shows no signs of slowing down. The old saying, change is the only constant, has never been more true. People who succeed in life and in their careers are not necessarily the ones with the most talent or the best resources. They are the ones who can quickly adjust to new circumstances, who can evolve with the times, and who can embrace change rather than resist it. Adaptation is not just about reacting to change. It is about anticipating it and being proactive in preparing for it. It's about recognizing that change is inevitable and that those who fail to adjust will find themselves left behind. The ability to adapt allows individuals and organizations to stay relevant, to innovate, and to continue to thrive even when external conditions are unpredictable or unfavorable. In the business world, those who adapt quickly are the ones who survive and grow, while those who hold on too tightly to outdated practices or beliefs are the ones who fail to keep up. Consider the rise of technology and how it has transformed industries. A few decades ago, many businesses operated in traditional analog ways. The idea of working remotely, for example, was unimaginable for most companies. Yet, in recent years, especially with the global pandemic, businesses had to adapt quickly to a new way of working. Those who embraced technology, who were able to shift to digital platforms and remote work systems, found ways to continue operations and even thrive during uncertain times. Others who were slow to adapt struggled to stay afloat. This is a clear example of how the ability to adapt can determine success or failure. Innovation is often the result of adaptation. Companies that thrive in an ever-changing market are those that are willing to experiment, to try new things, and to adjust their strategies based on what works and what doesn't. Consider companies like Apple or Tesla. They didn't just stick to the status quo. They adapted to changing technologies, consumer needs, and market conditions. They saw what others overlooked and responded by creating innovative solutions. Apple adapted to the digital era by introducing groundbreaking products that redefined entire industries. Tesla adapted to the growing demand for clean energy and electric vehicles, pushing the boundaries of what was possible in the automotive world. On the other hand, companies that failed to adapt to changing times have become cautionary tales. Think about Kodak, once a dominant force in the photography industry. Kodak was slow to embrace digital technology, clinging to its traditional film-based products. By the time the world shifted toward digital cameras and smartphones, Kodak was left behind. Their failure to adapt not only resulted in their decline, but also highlighted the dangers of becoming complacent and resisting change. Adapting quickly is also crucial for personal growth. As individuals, we face challenges and changes constantly. Whether it's a shift in our career path, the introduction of new technologies, or changes in our personal lives, the ability to adapt is essential for survival and success. The people who are able to adapt to changing circumstances are the ones who continue to move forward. They see challenges as opportunities to grow rather than obstacles that hinder their progress. They don't fear change. They embrace it and use it as a catalyst for personal development. Those who resist change often find themselves stuck. They cling to old ways of doing things, and as a result, they miss out on new opportunities. It's easy to become comfortable with the familiar, but comfort often breeds stagnation. Growth only occurs when we are willing to step out of our comfort zones and take on new challenges. The ability to adapt allows us to expand our horizons, to learn new skills, and to find new ways of achieving our goals. Those who resist change are often left behind, watching others advance while they remain stagnant. Adaptation is also about developing resilience. Life rarely goes exactly as planned, and setbacks are a natural part of the journey. The ability to bounce back from adversity, to learn from mistakes, and to keep moving forward is essential for long-term success. People who adapt quickly are more likely to stay calm in the face of challenges and to find ways to overcome obstacles. They don't let failure define them. Instead, they use it as a learning experience and a stepping stone to success. Resilience is the key to not only surviving difficult situations, but thriving in them. The key to adapting quickly is being open-minded. Those who are adaptable don't cling to rigid beliefs or ways of doing things. They are open to new ideas, new perspectives, and new methods. They understand that there is always room for improvement and that learning is a lifelong process. They don't assume that they have all the answers or that their way is the only way. Instead, they are willing to listen, learn, and change when necessary. This open-mindedness allows them to navigate changes in the environment with ease, adjusting their approach as needed and staying ahead of the curve. Adaptability is closely linked to creativity. When faced with new challenges or circumstances, those who are adaptable are often the ones who come up with creative solutions. They are not bound by traditional ways of thinking. Instead, they are willing to explore new ideas, experiment with different approaches, and think outside the box. This creative mindset allows them to find innovative ways to solve problems and to take advantage of new opportunities. Creativity thrives in environments that are flexible and open to change, and those who are able to adapt are the ones who can harness this creativity to achieve success. Adapting quickly also requires a willingness to take risks. Change often involves stepping into the unknown, and this can be intimidating. However, those who are willing to take calculated risks are the ones who stand to gain the most. Adapting to new circumstances often requires trying things that are unfamiliar or uncertain. It's easy to stay in the comfort zone, but true progress comes from stepping out of it. The fear of failure or uncertainty can hold us back, but those who are able to adapt are not afraid to take risks and to fail. They understand that failure is often a stepping stone to success and that the greatest rewards come from the willingness to try. Lastly, adapting quickly requires a sense of urgency. The world moves fast, and those who don't act quickly can find themselves left behind. Procrastination and indecision are the enemies of progress. People who adapt quickly are proactive, taking action when it's needed, and making decisions in a timely manner. They don't wait for things to happen. They make things happen. This sense of urgency ensures that they stay ahead of the competition, seize opportunities when they arise, and don't let valuable time slip away. The ability to adapt quickly is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. It is the people who are willing to embrace change, to learn from their experiences, and to innovate that continue to thrive in a world that is constantly changing. Those who fail to adapt will inevitably fall behind. Adaptation is not just about surviving, it is about thriving. It's about staying relevant, staying ahead, and continuing to grow in an ever-changing world.